showtime. Woo, woo. Woo, 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 woo. Silent and profiling. Woo, it's live and in color. Woo!
Welcome to the Mafia Sports Report on the Buffalo Fan Base Network. I am your host, Tommy, to the highest degree, to the TOP from the 313. And by my side is my main man, my toucan Sam, the one they call the Apex Man, Mr. Mikey. What's going on, brother?
How you doing, bud? Happy Monday.
Yeah, happy Monday to you, man. And I got some people up in here, and Apex saying it's showtime, which is Mighty Mikey. And I got Adam Brown. What's going on, Adam, man? We're ready to rock and roll on this Monday night. So I just want to jump right into this, man. Mr. Mikey, the NFL news, some news that came out. Aaron Donald got paid today. 3 years, $95 million, 65 guaranteed. Works about to be $30 million per season. He is now the highest paid player besides a quarterback. So the highest non-quarterback paid player in the NFL. Your thoughts on Aaron Donald getting paid?
So did he? So he makes more than Tyreek now.
He's the highest, right? Highest.
Wow, okay.
Yep. What's
Aaron
going
Donald
on, Adam? Appreciate you coming in, brother. Yeah,
Aaron Donald's
definitely
resetting the market, which isn't great knowing that Ed Oliver's coming up on a payday.
Yeah. Well, he kind of forced their hand a little bit, right?
Yeah.
About the whole retirement thing, and so hey, I mean, it is what he is, a dominating force, and this is the way the NFL.
There's a reason why he's a 5-time defense player of the year or something like that.
And a Super Bowl champion, and so listen. As the years go on, there's going to be bigger and better contracts. It's just the way the NFL works. It's
the more money
business
that comes in. Like next year, really the cap starts to pop off as we look at the new TV deals start getting kicked in next year. Like that's when Josh's money starts. That's what a lot of people forgot. Josh signed a 6 years extension, but that was his 6-year extension doesn't start until after this year. Correct. So the last 2 years is just the end of his rookie deal. Now all his money is going to get added going forward.
Yep. Adam, yeah, we're gonna get into the Tavon signing in a minute, but yeah, man, interesting signing. We'll talk about.
I
that
like it.
In a minute.
I like it a lot.
Yeah. I don't hate it. Daniel, what's going on, brother? I appreciate you popping in, man. By the way, Fitzpatrick, Mikey, he did officially today confirm his retirement. So he is now gone from the NFL. He will be missed. Bills Mafia loves him, and I guarantee he does show up to some games this season since he loves Buffalo. I am very curious if the Bills do sign him on that one day, so he retires a Buffalo Bill. I think that would be really cool. What do you think? You think the Bills would do that?
I would love that because he talks about his time in Buffalo as his favorite time. His best friend is Eric Wood, who works for Buffalo as on the radio. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Fitz in some kind of role, him signing a deal and kind of following that whole Legends contract like we do with a lot of our Hall of Famers and stuff. Like Fitz kind of fits that mold of those type of guys.
Yeah, he does. Jason, I know the Shakir injury is a ankle. I think he just tweaked it. It's nothing to be concerned about. Hodgins, on the other hand, I did not hear anything, but him being injured is nothing new at this point. I'll be real with you.
Yeah.
So it's not good for him if it's a bad injury. I'll be honest with you, because he's already, in my opinion, skating on thin ice because he just hasn't been healthy enough to do anything, right? And we just keep giving him opportunity to stay on the team. Taking up a spot.
I mean, he's not. I mean, he's on the practice squad.
Well, practice squad spot, but you know what I mean. There's going to come a time, Mikey, where they're going to even cut him from there. It's just not. It won't be worth it to even keep him on the practice squad. But I don't know. I'm maybe jumping here to conclusion. I have no idea what his injury is. I'll be real with you. But the Shakir one is probably the most important, and that's just a minor sprain. Nothing to be concerned about. Also, today, Deshaun Watson, a 24th lawsuit. Another one that adds to the list, and that's number 24 now. A lot of stuff came out about him, Mikey. We won't get too deep into it, but man, the NFL has
in a tough spot. They're in a
tough spot, and they're close, nearing a decision what they're going to do. Man,
which makes zero sense to me. How can you be nearing a decision when new cases are continually brought? Like, they were close to a decision on the previous 22 cases, but since they came out and said they're close, there's been 2 more cases added. So at what point does the NFL take a step back and have to make a decision? Like, I've listened to a lot of different ones, like on PFT, like Mike Florio talks about it, and a bunch of other people have talked about it. They're like, at some point the NFL is going to just have to like put them on paid leave until some of this stuff, because they can't drop in a suspension on them until they have an understanding of what is going on.
I forgot who mentioned it, but somebody did mention there is a thing where they could suspend a player but keep it open, meaning they could suspend them 10 games but have it open still, where they can actually go back if more comes out and extend the suspension.
Let me ask you a question. So basically there's 24 individual cases that's going to be against him, which could take up to 4 years from now to truly get rid of all of them. Say they suspend him 10 games this year. He comes back, he plays the last 7 plus playoffs if they make the playoffs. And then it comes out that his first trial and he loses his first trial. Are they going to resuspend him? Like, isn't that follow kind of in the line of double jeopardy?
Right. So here's what's happening as far as I know. So obviously legally wise, I think that's a wrap unless something crazy comes out and they take it to like court, meaning not a civil court. So right now, all these cases are civil courts.
Yep.
But as you know, from the O.J. Simpson trial, guys, O.J. Simpson was found not guilty. However, he went to civil court and he was found guilty. Good. And when he went to civil court, it's a lot different than court. You have to talk to the lawyer in civil court. So that's when a lot of that stuff about the O.J. Simpson thing came. We're like, because now the lawyer had a chance to grow OJ. And that's what's going to happen with the Watson thing. I think, to be honest with you, if I'm Watson's team, I try to just pay him, get it over with, take your suspension. And this way nothing comes out that you don't want to come out, and be done with it. Take your, like I said, take the NFL suspension.
I don't know if the plaintiffs are going to be willing to do that, because some of them are now going on TV to talk about it. I know. Like it's getting.
It'd have to be bad. All of them.
We're kind of going down a rabbit hole here.
I know. Yeah. Adam, real quick, coming in, Mikey. He's going to the Broncos Bills preseason. It'll be my brother and my 12-year-old daughter's first time going to the Ralph, and I'm glad that you called it the Ralph. By the way,
yes.
I call it the Ralph the Rich. Like Highmark, forget about that crap. But have a good time, brother. I've been there. I honestly only been once. And I went Josh Allen's rookie season in 2018 against the Lions, and I had a blast, man. It's so much fun.
I have yet to go.
Mikey.
We talked about this.
Go. We
did. Before the Ralph is gone, I will be making a trip out there and seeing a game there. So
yeah, you got it, bro. All right, moving on. So to get to somebody else's question about Tavon Austin, yes, the Buffalo Bills did sign Tavon Austin. Mikey, your thoughts on the Tavon Austin?
I like the signing. He brings outside speed, because we talked about this a couple weeks back, where we don't have a lot of depth outside. We have a lot of slot guys, and because we have McKenzie and Crowder who are slot. We have Shakir who can play slot or outside. But outside of Diggs and Davis, we don't have we have Kumaro. He's our big outside guy. We don't have those other outside guys like we have in the past. So signing Austin, I like the idea. He's a speed guy. He brings that John Brown speed, but he also brings return ability, which is something that we need as well. So he's not a guarantee to make the roster by any means. He's definitely on the bubble, and his contract says it, but I like his chances to make this team, especially if he can give us anything in the return game.
Yeah. So he is a strong returner, Jason, but the only problem I have, he's only had 3 returns since 2017, I believe they said. So he hasn't had a lot of work, or
since 2019.
Okay, sorry, but still, that's 3 years, right? 3 seasons, 4 seasons. That's a long. So he may be a little rusty when it comes to returns. That doesn't mean he can't get up to speed. He's done it before.
Crowder hasn't had it since 2018.
Okay, maybe I was thinking Crowder. Okay,
yeah,
so
Crowder's 2018.
What I think they're gonna do with Austin is, I think they're gonna it's competition in the kick return department and punt return. And as of right now, Stevenson's not looking the best in OTAs, they said. So maybe this is just something that they're looking into, because you can't have Micah Hyde constantly filling in for these guys that aren't doing their job. Last thing we need is Hyde getting injured on a punt return. It just last thing I need. But I think I don't hate the signing, because we need the competition, especially in the kick return punt return. And we need to speed too. So maybe this guy shows out. He hasn't done too much throughout his career, but he's not a bad player. He probably wasn't worth
he did okay in Dallas, as a 4 or 5 seasons. A couple years ago in Dallas, he was the 4th or 5th option, and he did decent in that. Don't expect him to be a 1. If we're expecting him to provide us special teams and some deep shots that Josh can take to him because he can take the top off that, that's what we want him for.
What's going on, Jack? Yeah, Mikey's from Cali too, man.
Yeah.
Cali.
Northern Cali too.
Yep. A couple more quick news bits. Josh Allen was awful in golf. He hit somebody in the head.
They all were awful.
I know, but I'm just saying, like,
they all pinged people. It wasn't just Josh.
I know, but yikes. But he did have one nice shot that almost went in. Barkley said he was going to go swimming, and that didn't happen. But whatever. It was golf. People could talk trash. I really could.
Listen, none of them were really good. It was
they were
honestly
all pretty bad.
It was Patrick Mahomes versus Aaron Rodgers with Brady and Allen doing most of the talking is what it was.
Yes, because Brady was bad too. Brady was really bad. And the last bit of news, guys, my man from the U, Ken Dorsey, is on the ballot of the College Football Hall of Fame. I hope he gets in. 38-2, won the championship in 2001, as you guys know. I think he deserves it, man. He was one of the best college quarterbacks ever. Also on the list is Paul Paz. I can't pronounce the last name. Mikey Ken, right? And Reggie Bush is on there, and Troy Vincent and Marshawn Lynch. So we have a few ex-Buffalo Bill players.
I can see them all making it.
Right, but somebody's not. You know how that is. I don't know how many. I have to read on that, how many get inducted if it's different than the Hall of Fame. They maybe take a lot more than the Hall of Fame would. But I would think Dorsey for sure, and Lynch as well. But we'll see. We'll see. Moving on. Listen, Mikey, I saw this cool little article about how hard it is to replace an NFL franchise quarterback. And it is quite interesting. You have that pulled up. I want to show people just the list of quarterbacks. And it's crazy how many guys just do not follow through after the franchise quarterback. So Mike is going to scroll down and just show you just some of these names.
Yeah, so Chicago had Sid Luckman to Johnny Lujack. Cleveland had Otto Graham to George Ratterman. Like, it's crazy.
We'll get into the color ones here. New
these are all super old. We had Sonny Jurgensen to
Blanda.
Right. Johnny Yu to Burt Jones.
Right. Burt Jones.
All
right, here we go.
Tommy Kramer.
When TVs were color TVs now. Here we go.
Staubach to Danny White.
Right. Danny White. No bueno.
Yeah.
No
Greasy
bueno.
To Woodley.
Right. But here comes some of the ones we all probably recognize. Look at old Archie Manning.
Wow.
Do you guys think Tom Brady's old? That dude's
Brian Snipe to Paul McDonald. There's names on here I don't even know.
Right. Terry Bradshaw.
Yeah, Terry Bradshaw to Mark Malone.
Yeah, see, Mark Malone didn't work out.
Fouts,
right? So here's some of the guys we know.
To Leffenberg.
That did not work out.
Montana.
Now here's one. There's one that worked. So look at this list so far. Not very good. Look going.
How young Joe was there, man.
I know. And Joe, but that was perfect timing on that. Perfect.
Yeah.
Look at this one. Boomer to David Kingler or whatever his name is. Terrible. That did not work out. We're coming up soon, Mikey. Look at it. Bernie, this to Vinny. That wasn't bad. That's not a bad one because I thought those guys were both the same quarterback.
Except Vinny did most of his damage later in his career.
And the Jets.
Young right? Vinny struggled.
He did, but he wasn't. But I still don't think that was terrible transition. Here's bad. Here's a bad one.
Carlson. Ouch.
Right. Look at this, guys. This is really
Sims to Dave Brown.
Ugh, terrible.
Montana to Bono.
Right. Remember him? Him, Bono? Bad.
I do.
Oh, not that he was great.
This one
here we go, guys. Jim Kelly to Todd Collins.
Oh, this one breaks.
So look at this, Mikey. So my whole thing about this whole thing was stop right there. Jim Kelly to Todd Collins to Josh Allen. Let's be real, guys. Right? It's taken. There
was a lot of bad quarterbacks in that.
Right. So look at that. Right. Oh my God. So yeah, I just wanted to show you guys, that listen, man, we weren't the only ones, right? Mm-hmm. Not to mention the Dolphins are on that list from Marino. From Marino ending his career, they still really haven't found their guy. Let's be real. So it's not.
They're still trying to figure out if they found their guy.
Right. So we're not alone. I'm just telling you guys, I know when we take you down these memory lanes, it's like, oh my God. But bro, a lot of teams have had the same thing. All right, guys. So we on this show are going to do position breakdown. We told you guys a few weeks ago that we're going to do this. It's going to be a 3-part show. So today we're going to do quarterback, wide receiver, running back, tight end room. And Mike is going to take over on this. We're going to pop up on the screen real quick. And let me see if there's any questions real quick before we go with this, Mikey. Todd Collins had a long career as a backup. Sure, but we're talking about replacing a franchise quarterback, like a replacement, like a Steve Young, Joe Montana, Steve Young. It took us a long time, right? So that's what I mean. Yes. Fitzpatrick was better than Collins. Of course he was, but he wasn't a franchise quarterback.
And he wasn't the first guy that right after Kelly that came in that they thought was going to be the next guy.
Correct. All right, go ahead, Mike. It's all yours.
So we'll break out into the 2022 Buffalo Bills breakdowns: quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends. We'll start with the quarterbacks. So we'll start with this, and we'll start with Josh Allen, who is our number one guy. He's probably number one or number two in the NFL at this point. Last year, he had 409 completions. He had a 63.3% completion percentage, threw for 4,407 yards, 36 touchdowns, 15 picks. He added in 122 rushes for 763 yards and 6 total touchdowns. So I pulled this up because I was looking at the quarterbacks and Keenum and Barkley. Like I could do it really easy. I looked at Allen. I'm like, okay, 2020 to 2021. Look at his last couple of years. Then I tried to do that with some of our other positions, and I couldn't do it. Like Keenum last year played in 7 games, started 2, had 65.3% completion, 462, three touchdowns to 1 pick. He also was 2-0 as a starter. So perfect backup numbers. Yeah, but you go back to 2020, his numbers, were kind of similar. So I'm like, let's look at career-wise. What are we getting in Case Keenum? Because me and you had this big argument last week.
Yeah.
About, is Case Keenum good enough if something happens to Josh to still lead us into the playoffs?
Mm-hmm. For a whole season.
Yeah, for a whole season.
Okay.
Case Keenum is a career 62.4% completion percentage. He's thrown for 14,000 yards, almost 15,000 yards, 78 touchdowns to 48 interceptions. He is an above average backup. He's a guy that can come in or a average to below average starter. When he's had a good team, he's been able to put up good numbers. So you go back to when he played for Minnesota and he was the starter. He went 11-3 in the games he played and took him to the AFC Championship game. But then you go look at what he did with Denver, who was a rebuilding team, what he did with the Commanders at the time, who were a rebuilding team. He went like 8-17 or 7-14 or something like that during that stretch, and he didn't look all that great. And that's why you're like, oh, Teddy Bridgewater is better than him. I'm like, no, he's
not. Well, I'd have to really. I guess I'm not going to totally debate with you because I got to find his stats. I only know what I remember. You know what I mean? I'm not. Once again, I don't follow other teams that well. I'll be real with you guys. So I'm not going to go on like Minnesota Vikings chat room and debate, how good their quarterback is. Because I don't want to. But I will say Bridgewater he did have good seasons. I don't think excellent, but
early in his career. Then he played well with Sean Payton in that explosive Saints offense. But you go back and look at the same thing. You go back and look at Case Keenum with that explosive Minnesota offenses. He was great, and then you go somewhere else. It's all about your surroundings.
Jason asks us Keenum, Frank Reich. Are you saying like can we compare them? That's tough. I would say no at this point because I honestly don't know until I see him as a backup. I know what I saw from Frank Reich, and Frank Reich was the real deal.
Can Keenum rally us from a 35-point deficit? I don't know.
right.
In the playoffs, I don't know.
Statistics wise, he's asking. Okay.
Yes. Frank Reich was a average to below average starting quarterback, a fantastic backup. That is Case Keenum.
That's fair. I like I said, I was totally on. Me, and we're going to get into the Barkley in a minute. But I was screaming for a quality backup, and I was very happy with this. I never said Keenum, but I just. Like any good backup, I still would be like nervous the whole season.
Yeah, and I get
that's
that.
all I'm.
And I get what you were saying. Where I'm going with this is Case Keenum going to be the reason we win? Like Josh Allen is the reason we win? No. With the talent that we have on offense and the weapons we have, could Case Keenum come in and spell Josh Allen and still make us a playoff team? Yes. Is he going to push us over the top to be a Super Bowl contender? Probably not. But will we be good enough to still, win our division and make the playoffs? I think he's good enough to do that. He's an above average backup. He's one of the top tier backups.
I get that, but you also got to factor into then we're down to Barkley, right? He's the official backup now, right? Yeah. Anything can happen, Mikey. I'm just saying. So it would be tough, Mikey. I'm being real with you. Like then he would.
But you can say that with any back.
No, I know that you can is 100%, and that was my point. Any starting legit, except for like the guys that are question marks, like Tua, right? Mm-hmm. But any like top 10 quarterbacks right now with backups, you could say that across the board. They want to, of course. If Patrick Mahomes went out, I don't know if they're making a playoffs. I have no idea who their backup is, but. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, can he lead that? I don't know.
They thought the same thing when in Philadelphia when Wentz went down. He was playing at MVP level. He was probably going to be the MVP.
But that wasn't a whole season. Yeah, but that was towards the end of the season. They already made the playoffs.
Yeah.
Nick Foles came in for a playoff run and it was one of those Nick Foles moments where I think he did it again, right? He almost got them when he came back into the playoffs. So it's just it's kind of like a big shot Bob kind of deal with Foles, right? Right spot, right time. I guess
if he's on the right team, yes, he's fits.
Right.
However, I do think Keenum is good enough to still get us to the playoffs because he won't be the reason we lose, but he won't be the reason we win. He'll be a guy in the cog. He'll make the right reads. It says it. He's
62 isn't that impressive, but it's fine. It's fine.
I think it's right around league average.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm not hating it. I'm not hating it.
78 to 48. So touchdowns interception ratio. So he tells me that he makes the right decisions and doesn't put the ball in harm's way. And with the players that we have, and hopefully with the renewed run game and defense we have, I have a feeling that he could. I don't want to see Josh go out at all. This should be an argument for nothing. It's just in theory.
Right. But this is a theory because Allen he ain't going out.
At the end of the day, Case Keenum I think is good enough to get us, to make us where we aren't going to lose because of him. That to where Matt Barkley, on the other hand, I will tell you, you cried when we re-signed him, and you're like, God. You were so mad, and I didn't understand why you were so mad until I pulled up his stats.
By the way, shout out to Simple to Own. That is my job, guys. That's where I work. It's my boss. So What's up, buddy?
Oh,
ahead, man.
nice. Yeah. So Case Keenum, I had to go back to 2020 for the last time he played in the game. He played in 5 games for the Bills. He didn't start any. He had 21 passes. He had 52.4% completion, 197 yards, 1-1.
Robert.
But
Robert.
you look.
Amen to that, by the way.
Right?
Yes.
Right?
But
at the end of the day, I looked at Barkley's career stats, and they are.
I told you guys. And you know what's funny, Mikey? Not only did I tell you guys, when I tweeted this, I got so much heat from Bill's Mafia, Mikey. I mean, people.
We love our guys. We love our guys.
So mad at me, and I'm like, whoa! I'm not saying he's a bad guy. I never said anything bad about Barkley. He's not a good backup. Let's be real. And Mikey's going to show you why he's not a very good backup. Go ahead.
I'll tell you. Okay. Josh Allen had more completions last year than he's had attempts in his career. What does that tell you? First off, he doesn't get on the field. Second of all, he's, his completion percentage is 58.4, so it's sub 60.
58. That's awful.
He has 2,699 passing yards, 11 touchdowns, 22 picks.
Oh,
so he's 2-1 on the interception ratio.
So bad. You guys. I mean, let's be real. This guy's gonna lose you games. This guy ain't going in to win games, bro.
Yeah. But the things that Barkley brings aren't so much from a stat standpoint. He brings leadership. Him and his family are big in the locker room. Like, there's a lot of things why Barkley coming back was a positive.
Yeah.
It's not from a playing standpoint by any means. That's why I love the Case Keenum signing. Put Barkley as QB3, practice squad QB. Leave him in the room.
Yep.
Let him and his family do the things that he's great at, and give him a paycheck. I'm 100% on board.
Yeah. They ain't like overpaying for him or anything.
No.
What's going to probably happen, and if I had to guess, is they're going to probably cut him. Then they're going to sign him to the practice squad, right, on like a cheap deal or whatever. No one's picking Matt Barkley up. So if we cut him, I'm out.
He bounced around 3 practice squads last year.
Exactly. So he's not sticking. So
I could see he made one game day roster, and that was with the Titans 1 week. And then outside of that, he was just practice squad.
Right. I could see him, like, to your point, being the old guy, the leader for the practice squad. So the young guys helping up the younger guys, the younger core guys. They need a quarterback anyways. So why not have that guy just there? And he's also good for the community. He's like a good guy. Mm-hmm. Him and Josh get along really well, his family. Mm-hmm. So, hey,
he's a better QB3 than most teams have. Think about it. Because our last QB3 was Jake Fromm. He's better than Jake Fromm.
Robert coming in here. We are superstitious as fuck, so we normally stay away from thinking along these lines. But I understand the content. Yeah, dude, 100%. Like, this is just us just going over because we have to. We have to know who our backups is. That's the reason why you go get a quality backup just in case. But it's just a hypothetical if he had to come in. He ain't coming in. Because look, we had Trubisky last year, which was probably the best backup in the league last year, and we didn't use him at all, except for what? Preseason game and maybe the last game. What did he come in?
He used I think he played in 4 games. Most of them were like a couple
Kneels
of blowouts.
And hands off.
Yeah.
Right.
So he played in like the Miami game when we blew him out in week 2. And then there was a couple of them were like kneels and hands offs. I think he even ran a touchdown in once. But ultimately, Daniel Gary is right. For a QB3, Barkley's very good for a QB3. When we're watching preseason, Barkley's good enough to let us see what we got in our depth receivers.
Yeah, that's fine. Like I said, I had no problem bringing him back as long as he wasn't back up. That's the only thing I was saying. Cool, he can be there. Whatever.
Yeah. So ultimately, our QB room, is run. Our offense is run by Ken Dorsey. Our new quarterback coach is Joe Brady. I love the fact that Joe Brady's in the room. He comes from that LSU spread offense. He's going to bring some new ideas and help Dorsey. So from what Dorsey said in his press conferences, him and Cromer and Shula and they all get together and they just throw ideas against the wall to see what sticks. What works, what doesn't. It's a group mindset, which is awesome.
Yeah, and that's great to have like Joe Brady, former OC as well, I believe. It's just good. He's a Carolina guy as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I think with this new regime of coaches that we're going to see coming up when we're doing these breakdowns, they all have a connection some sort. So it's not where I think we got to worry about.
Brady's the only one that doesn't have a connection. Joe Brady.
Yeah, well, right. He wasn't around when that. But my point is, I don't think they're going to be playing tug of war with each other. I think they're all on the same connection.
Yeah.
Like for instance, Mike Shula was the OC under Ken Dorsey. Ken Dorsey was the quarterback coach at the time.
Yeah.
So
for that Carolina team that went to the Super Bowl, Shula was the offense coordinator, McDermott was the defensive coordinator, and Dorsey was the OC. Bean was the assistant general manager.
Correct. So it's good to know that we have these guys all on the same page, because we talked about this before, right, Mike? Like everybody, we can have good coaches, but they all got to connect. If there's no connection there, then it's all for nothing.
Well, it's also good to know that we have 3 former offensive coordinators surrounding our first-time offensive coordinator. So all those guys, their job is to help Dorsey in his transition to OC. So we have Joe Brady, who's our passing game coordinator and quarterbacks coach. We have Aaron Cromer, who's our offensive line and run game coordinator. And then we have Shula, who is a senior offensive assistant, who basically was already Dorsey's mentor and is now sitting next to him, telling him, okay, this is what in case any questions pop up.
Right.
Meaning Barkley's wife.
Yeah, I remember the college game when the guy was like, the commentator was.
That wasn't Barkley's wife. That was AJ McCarron's wife.
No, Barkley too. I thought Barkley had that situation, or was it?
No,
AJ?
I
thought
AJ
Barkley
McCarron
had this. I could swear Barkley had something like that too.
Barkley's wife. Barkley's wife is the one that brings like all the Bill's wives together, and brings a very family. I know. It was Brent Musburger, I think it was, that was talking about AJ McCarron's wife during the national championship game.
How pretty she was, or what?
Yeah, yeah. So, anyways, that's our quarterback room. We have Josh Allen, who's gonna help lead us to the Super Bowl this year. As Robert says, let's get back to daydreaming about Allen bringing us that Super Bowl. It's not gonna be a daydream.
Sir.
The mission starts now.
It
starts now.
It's happening. It's happening. So just buckle up and get ready, because I'm telling you, man, they built this team the right way, man. Like they had a plan and they're sticking to it, and we are favored for a reason. Josh Allen is getting noticed everywhere. And by the way, real quick on the golf thing, I do got to say, when is the last time a Buffalo Bill quarterback was center stage on something so big, right? Like those are the 4.
Jim Kelly.
Right. It's been a long time. So that says a lot from where this team has come from, right? Like, look at that. It's wild.
We're on the national stage now.
Yeah.
I mean, we're the Super Bowl favorites. We're the Josh is the MVP favorite. Sean McDermott's the coach of the year favorite. Like we're sweeping all those odds. Like the expectation for the Bills is extremely high this year.
Yeah. Now we gotta make it happen.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep. Okay, so the second group we dig into is the running backs. Well, I put the 3 main ones we have here. Then we have Tywan Jones, who's a special teams guy. Gilliam, who I didn't list here, is Blackshire, who's the undrafted rookie free agent. That's mainly because I couldn't find much on him. So I kind of ran out of room on my slide. So I'm like, we'll just talk about him a little bit. So
Scotty's in the house, by the way. Yeah, Mikey.
Oh, what's going on, Scotty? How you doing, bud? Yeah. We'll start with our 1A, Devin Singletary, who had 188 carries last year, 870 yards, 7 touchdowns, 40 catches, 228 yards, one touchdown. He had 5 fumbles though last year. I didn't realize he had 5 fumbles. This guy averages like 6 yards a carry. Yep. It's crazy in the pros. In his career, he has 495 carries for 2,332 yards.
That's not a lot of
touchdowns.
carries.
That's not,
guys. That's nothing.
like nothing. considering Derrick Henry had like 350 in most years, and we're talking about 495 in 3 years.
Yeah, that's super low, guys.
You know, he had less than 200 carries, and he had 870 rushing yards last year.
Yeah, he's not been used correctly.
Like, he had over 1,000 all-purpose yards last year, which is what you want.
Very good
for a guy who splits time. You can't ask for much. Duke, I don't have Duke on here either. I ran out of space for Duke Johnson. Honestly, he's kind of on the bubble. I think Duke and Blackshire and Taiwan Jones. I think all bubble guys.
Yeah, I think Duke. I think Duke is getting up there in age, and we got a lot of younger guys in the room still. Devin Singletary is still young. James Cook is still young. Zach Moss is still young. Taiwan Jones is a special teamer. He's not going to be anytime running the ball soon. Reggie Gilliam is a fullback. He's back there blocking pretty much. But what I do like about Duke Johnson, it will be interesting with the whole Zach Moss thing, because he kind of does what Zach Moss does, but I think he's a better pass catcher. And I think
Duke Johnson actually does what James Cook does.
Yes, but I think he does. I'll be honest with you. What I saw last year when he played for the Dolphins, I thought he was pretty strong going up the middle on some of those runs.
That's because they couldn't run outside. That's why he was going up the middle.
But Zach Moss going up, like, I kind of felt like he was a little stronger in that aspect. Now, listen, I think it'll come down to preseason with those two. But go ahead, Mikey.
So we know Singletary and Cook is pretty much a lock. We know Gilliam, is that H-back tight end special teams guy. I think he's going to be on this team. So it's going to come down to Moss, Taiwan Jones, and Duke Johnson. Taiwan Jones may make it for a special team prowess if we don't see any of the rookies step up. Taiwan Jones is not a running back. Let's be perfectly honest. He has 53 carries in his career. He's a special teams guy.
That's all he's been his whole career, pretty much. Yeah.
So we'll see if we keep that. Zach Moss, and I know Scott Blakely comes in and says, how many running backs we keep, and he doesn't see Moss on the team. Moss has another year after this on his contract. Bean doesn't give up on his draft picks.
Third round too. So it's not a big contract.
He's cheap labor, and I think it's going to come down because you have to remember Singletary's in his last year, so maybe he comes back, maybe he doesn't. Duke Johnson's on a 1-year deal. Zach Moss has 2 years. Taiwan Jones 1 year. James Cook on a 4 year. So at the end of the day, I have a feeling Zach Moss is going to get that benefit of the doubt, and it's going to be these three guys. With Zach Moss may not be active every week. He may be in that Breida / Yeldon role where he is not a game day dress, because if Taiwan Jones makes it as a special teamer, we can't keep 5 running backs.
No, it's not. That's not going to happen. And Jason, I kind of disagree with that. I don't think Singletary has anything to prove. I think Singletary's done a pretty good job, to be honest with you. He just wasn't
especially
used
with
right.
The O-line that we have, the run game that we have.
With the bad O-line, he wasn't used in 2020 at all, right? Like, I mean, we totally went away from the run. This year, it took a while for Dable to even really get him going, and that wasn't towards the end of the season. And he's still averaging like almost 5 yards through his career, which is very good. Like, that's not nothing to be ashamed of. Like, that's a really good stat if you can average that. And like Mikey said earlier, he did over 1,000 all-purpose yards. That's very good. Can we get better? Of course you can. And I don't think somebody also came in saying they're going to split carries. I don't think they're going to be splitting carries. I think you will see James Cook in there, but I think it'll be a lot more on screen passes, passing downs. I think he'll get carries, but I think Singletary has earned that right to be the lead back, in my opinion. He's shown that last season. I think McDermott knows that as well. And I think with this new addition of the O-line and Cromer, you're going to see a much better Singletary than you ever seen, in my opinion. Plus, like Mikey said, His contract's coming up, and that's going to look even better for teams trying to sign him. He's going to get paid somewhere if he has a good season, right, Mikey? I mean,
yeah,
more than likely.
That's what he's looking for. And at the end of the day,
I don't blame him.
Singletary had 188 carries, Moss had 96. So I would expect about those 96 carries to go to James Cook.
Exactly.
And I see James Cook doing more of the passing game stuff. But at the end of the day, I do think it's going to be Singletary and Moss as the two lead ball carriers, with Cook being that weapon, doing a lot of different things. Taiwan Jones, we talked a little bit about him. He's a special teams only. Reggie Gilliam is special teams and fullback / tight end.
I like him, by the way.
I think he's going to make the team as well.
Yeah.
And then that brings us to Duke Johnson and Blackshire, both on the bubble. Duke Johnson could carve out a role here if he can do some special team stuff, and maybe that pushes Zach Moss off the roster. Mm-hmm. But it's an uphill battle for him.
And also too, I see Bean is very good at trading players that are potential cuts. So if he is thinking about cutting one of these guys, there's a team out there that's going to have an injury. And this is any position, by the way, but you could see like a Duke Johnson having a decent preseason, competing with Moss. Yeah. And maybe Moss goes, or maybe even Duke Johnson. Maybe they did both equally as well, but you don't want to cut them, try to get something for him. So I don't know if they're cut candidates. I think they're more trade candidates, depending how they do preseason, because Duke Johnson, I forget who said it, he's not a bad back. He actually did pretty well for a guy that, I think he was like not on a team for like 1 year, 2 seasons, something like that.
So it's just last year. The year before that, he's with Houston.
Right. But he didn't play a long time. Like
he sat on the free agent market a long time last year before he got picked up by Miami
late in the season too.
Yeah,
when they were desperate, and I thought he gave him a boost. So there'll be a team like the Dolphins potentially that's desperate for a running back because maybe they got an injury or backup went down, and Bean is slick with that guy. So
let me ask you this question, Tommy. Mm-hmm. Could we possibly see a repeat of what happened during Singletary's rookie year and see Singletary get moved before the season?
I don't think so. I'll tell you why. Out of all
we saw Shady.
I get
cut.
it. I do get that, but Shady was on a big. Cutting Shady saved them $8 million. Yeah. Cutting Singletary, trading that's not a big cap relief. That's 1, 2. Out of all these guys that I'm looking at, James Cook, Zach Moss, Taiwan Jones, Reggie Gilliam, Duke Johnson, none of those guys are like good pass blockers. And that's where Devin Singletary, I'm not saying he's great, but he's pretty good at pass blocking. So I can't see James Cook, like he's not a very good pass blocker. They've already said that it's something he has to work on. Zach Moss has not been good at pass blocking, in my opinion. Taiwan Jones won't obviously running back.
His numbers don't match what your opinion is.
No, I'm just saying. It's not only my opinion. Even Joe Marino said that. So he's not. I'm just saying. Like the
stats don't match up to that.
I get it, but I'm just saying. So I'm just saying. James Cook would not be a good pass blocker, in my opinion. Not now. Devin trading Singletary, and not only that, he knows the offense very well. James Cook has a lot to learn still. Zach Moss would be your lead back. Like I wouldn't, bro. That would not be good, in my opinion. You're talking about getting rid of, when we got rid of Shady, we had a young Singletary who we knew could do this stuff, right? We had an older vet in Gore, who actually we knew could do those things, right? I don't know if Duke Johnson could come in and be the lead back like a Frank Gore, because that's what it was that year, correct? Frank Gore was the lead back for maybe 3 games and then 4 games. And then Singletary took over.
I think it was 6 games and then Singletary took over.
Right, which was fine. But my point is,
you tell me Zach Moss couldn't be the lead back for a few games before Cook took over?
No, I don't think Cook would be. I don't think Cook is ready yet for that main role. I think Cook will be ready.
How's he any different than Singletary is for his rookie year?
He has very limited rushes in college. He's low.
Singletary did have 900 carries in college.
He did, but that's why they called him motor. And he was also. I don't think James Cook is quite ready to be the guy yet, in my opinion. Yeah. I think he'll learn. I think he'll get better. I think he'll be on the field a lot more than what we think. But I just don't think he's that lead back yet. And I don't think it's worth cutting Singletary trading him at this point.
So who do you
let him play his contract out?
So looking at this, who do you expect to be on the roster come week 1?
Okay. So I have Devin Singletary, James Cook, obviously, for sure. Mm-hmm. I think Zach Moss, it's going to come down to Zach Moss and
Duke Johnson
in preseason. But we're not suiting up 3 running backs. I think one of them make it, but one of them doesn't get dressed in certain games. And I could see Zach Moss beating out Duke Johnson. So I have Devin Singletary, James Cook, and Zach Moss to start the season. And I think Zach Moss,
with Tywan Jones as the break
special
glass,
team,
and
break Gilliam as the block. Correct.
And Gilliam as the special teamer and blocker. Okay.
Correct.
And in that room, obviously Ken Dorsey will be in that room at times, and then running back coach Kelly Skipper, who's been here for a while, and everyone seems to love. So, Daniel Garies comes in. Jason comes in, says Motor, Cook, Moss. Garies says Motor, Cook, Moss. Jones makes the final roster. I agree.
Yep.
I just don't like Duke Johnson has such an uphill battle.
He does. He's competing against younger guys.
He was a fantastic signing until we drafted James Cook, and James Cook basically took that spot.
I agree. I 100% agree that. When we were trying to get what was the guy from Washington, Mikey?
J.D.
McKissick. And that deal fell through. Duke Johnson was like that guy. It's like, okay, we can get Duke. But once they drafted James Cook, like you said, I think that put Duke Johnson behind the 8 ball right there. So he's I think he has an uphill battle. He's going to have to show out in camp pretty much. And
I do agree. So, okay. So that kind of covers us where we're at. Jason says Johnson will end up with the Panthers. The Panthers are always looking for running backs. You're right there, bud.
Yeah. I would. And he's a trade game. Yeah. And we can get something for him. I'm telling you. I don't think he's a cut. I think he's he'll get
more of a late round 6th, 7th round pick for him.
Yes, which is fine. I'll take a 6. Yeah. Why not? You can.
Well, they always are looking for him because McCaffrey can't stay healthy now.
Nope.
They ran him into the ground. So then we'll move over to our wide receiver room.
Nice.
So what you'll see here is I got 5 guys that I'm pretty sure are going to be locks, and then I have bubble guys, and we'll go through them all. So we'll start with Stephon Diggs, our alpha dog in the room. Last year he had 103 catches, 1,225 yards, 10 touchdowns on his career. So in Buffalo, he's had almost half his catches in Buffalo.
Yeah.
He's 2 years he became
a stud in Buffalo.
He was super good in Minnesota. They didn't use him right.
No,
at all.
He wasn't a stud either. Like I think he was good.
Dude, he was pretty studly.
Like, he was good, but he didn't have the numbers because he didn't have the quarterback. And not only did he have a quarterback, remember, Mikey, his gripe there was because the offensive coordinator was trying to switch it more to a running style offense.
The head coach. The head coach was doing that.
The head coach,
and Thielen and Cousins were like, Diggs was really, really good when Keenum was there.
Yeah.
Like Diggs, made all those. They were on the same page. Yeah. And then Cousins came in, and he seemed to connect with Thielen more.
Yeah.
And Diggs was they kept running him deep. He was just the deep guy, and he drove him crazy.
Right.
They didn't use him. He came to Buffalo, and in the 2 years in Buffalo, he has 230 catches of his almost 600.
Mm-hmm. Back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons.
Yeah. Like back-to-back 1,200-yard seasons.
I'm sorry. Right. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. Over 1,000 yards. Yeah.
Yeah. So, he's definitely alpha dog 1A. He's in the, top 5 when you're talking about wide receivers today.
Yeah. Yep.
All those things. Then we have Gabriel Davis, our young buck.
Yep.
Really kind of broke out towards the end of last season. He had 35 catches for 549 yards, 6 touchdowns. on his career. He has 70 catches, 1,148 yards, and 13 touchdowns. He's been a big play machine. He's also been option 4 in this offense for the last 2 years, and now he's going to be graduated to probably option 2 going forward.
Yes, yeah, I definitely expect him to be option 2. I thought that playoff run, that was his kind of a breakout moment. Even though he was already showing flashes since he's been a rookie onward. But that was his look at me moment, and where people have to take notice now. And the problem is people are going to have to take notice, and that leaves somebody else open now, right? That's why this receiver room is so deadly now, because Gabe Davis, man, I tell you what, he is the prettiest toe taps. Like when, I don't know how he does it with those, Mikey, but he's legit.
Great body control.
Yes, great body control. I also feel like him and Allen are finally getting on the same page, because it takes a minute. Just like Dawson Knox and Allen, I felt like it took a couple seasons for them to really start to gel and, get on the same page. And Diggs just happened to be on the same page right away, right? And that doesn't always happen. But I think Gabe Davis being a rookie, being 4th, like you said, right, behind John Brown, Cole Beasley, right? So it took him a little bit to get on the field, see more action. Right, Emmanuel Sanders. So now I feel like, it's his time. And I think him and Josh Allen he'll see more action on the field. He'll be the number 2.
Yeah, he's trusted. He's earned. Yeah. McDermott always talks about earning your spot, earning your reps. I think he's done that over the last 2 years. Emmanuel Sanders said, "This guy's different." He went on Good Morning Football and was talking about him. He's like, this guy could be one of the best receivers in the league. He's just built different. He's wired different, which is awesome.
That means.
Yep, he's gonna need to get paid. So our 1-2 or 2 guys we know already, and Diggs and Davis. We have a new slot guy this year.
We do.
Cole Beasley is gone. Insert Jamison Crowder, who is a fantastic slot receiver last year in New York with a horrific quarterback situation. He had 51 catches, 447 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He's fantastic with run after the catch.
Very good. Yeah, he's
I think he's going to excel, much like a lot of those other receivers that have come into Buffalo, who were kind of like on Beasley and Brown. They had good years, but they had their career years with Allen. I have a feeling Crowder's going to have a big year with Allen as well.
I agree. And the only thing is just getting on the same page, like Cole Beasley was. Cole Beasley, I can't knock him. He was Josh Allen's go-to when Josh Allen was in trouble. And he was, listen, when he threw to Cole Beasley, I knew Cole Beasley was going to catch the ball, right? I never feared Cole Beasley was going to make – he was always in the right place, right, Mikey? So that's something maybe Crowder and Allen will have to get familiar with each other and earn that same thing, that trust. Like Allen's going to – because Allen, he took it takes him a little bit to start to trust the player, trust the running back, to hand the ball off, to go to this guy, to go to Dawson's, go to Gabe. So I think even though Jameson's been around a little bit, he's still going to have to get familiar with the offense, new coordinator, with Allen. So, but I think it'll take a couple games. But I think once they get that down, Crowder's a blessing in disguise, man. I think that was a steal in free agency that a lot of people,
one of the most
were
underrated signings is Jamison Crowder. I agree,
100%. And he burnt us every time we played him. By the way, had great games.
He killed us because it's that little underneath, because he can take that underneath and take it to the house.
And that's one thing. That's one thing. Even though I love Cole Beasley, his yards after catch weren't the best. Like, he'd get the ball and go down, and which is fine. He got the first down most of the time, but he wasn't going to get a good yak. And
Crowder's bigger than Beasley was. Beasley was a small guy.
No, Beasley's a real small guy. I understand that, but one thing, we're not going to bring it up now, but Allen would have probably had, guys, no joke, over 5,000 yards if the yak was up
league
there
average,
with the rest.
Just league average.
Yes, he was 17th. I believe in yak. We weren't good yards after catch. So if that number can improve, you're going to see Allen in that 5,000 passing yard, 100%, guys. So, you got to take that, you got to understand that that's why Allen didn't get to the 5,000 last year. It wasn't because of Allen. It was because he didn't get much help after the catch.
I don't disagree. So moving down, we have Isaiah McKenzie. Last year had 20 catches, 178 yards, 1 touchdown.
Thomas, yeah.
Ultimately, he also did a lot of the special teams and the gadget guy. On McKenzie's career, he has 99 catches, 922, 7 touchdowns. All of that's with Allen. Allen.
You see Charity coming and saying he's the face of the franchise. Yes.
He is a spark plug. If guys try to run man against us, you put in McKenzie and let him go.
I love McKenzie, man. I've always me and Mikey were last season. I remember me and Mikey were just so mad for like most of the season why McKenzie was not being used correctly in the system when he was used properly the year before. So it wasn't like he got his chance the year before he sucked and didn't.
No, he was great.
He was great, and then we just totally went away from it. And I remember me and Mikey coming in because we had a show every Friday, which we still do. But we come on every Friday and just our number one complaint, win or lose, was why isn't McKenzie involved in the offense? Like it made no sense, right? Like why is he in the doghouse? I just remember going, okay, so fine, he didn't do great in kick return, but that's not what I put him back in the gadget. Like that's what we in the jet sweep, the motion sweeps. Like he excelled with that, and we just totally, I felt like just took it away from him. And I'm glad. That's another reason why I'm glad Dable's gone because I think Ken Dorsey will understand McKenzie can be very useful.
Shula,
yeah,
that little crew will find a way to use him.
Yes, like when he's used, he gets us yards. He makes plays. It's not like he drops the ball or you know what I mean. Or like he's a pretty good receiver. And by the way, been here since 2018. He's been here a long time. Go ahead, Mikey. Sorry, had to go on a little rant there.
Yeah, no problem. And thank you, Thomas, for pointing out my grammatical error. I appreciate that.
Oh, what happened?
And receiver, I spelled it wrong. But that's fine.
My gosh,
that's fine. Dude, I did this. What was it? Sunday morning.
You did. Mikey worked very hard on this guy.
Yeah, I did the Sunday morning.
It's
to give you guys some visuals. But anyways, that's fine. Ultimately,
that's going to eat at Mikey for a long time.
It's going to. It's going to like be that earworm that just sits there and just nitpicks at me. McKenzie, ultimately, I do think he's going to have a bigger year. He's going to have a bigger role in the offense this year. And then we move over to our rookie, Shakir. Last year he had 77 catches, 1,117 yards, 7 touchdowns in college. On his career, he had 208 catches, 2,878 yards, 20 touchdowns. So he's been a consistent guy. He can play inside, he can play outside. He's going to fill the Gabe Davis role of last year. He's going to be the number 5 option probably on this team. In the 5 or 6 option, who's gonna come in, probably get a catch or maybe 3 targets a game, and come up with some big plays, big touchdowns like Davis did.
You're talking about Shakir, correct?
Yeah,
correct.
That's what I'm thinking of.
So I love this. By the way, I absolutely love this draft pick. Like I really, really think this kid is going to have a good good career in the NFL. He can catch, man. And he can get open. He's pretty decent route runner. I think he's our future slot, but just like Mikey said, I think this season, because we're pretty deep in receiver. I got to be honest with you. I think Khalil Shakir will see the field. I just don't know if it's going to be a lot of time on the field. I think he's going to get that Gabe Davis kind of first year. You're just not going to see him as much, but I think he'll make a few plays here and there for the team. Yep. But I think the following season is when he's going to have that breakout kind of year that you're going to be like, okay, like this guy's good. But yeah, first season he'll be on the team. I just don't know if you'll see the field a lot, unless there's an injury.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I like I said, I see him playing in that Gabe Davis role where you maybe catches 35 passes on the year. You know what I mean? At the end of the day,
coming in with a question for you, buddy.
Are you sold on these receivers? What I think is the Bills will start. The Bills will be better on defense, which will relieve the pressure on Allen on the offense. I don't expect that at all. I expect the offense to hit the ground running. I do think the defense will be better, but every in the last few years we've looked at it. 2019 it was the defense, held up and the offense didn't. 2020 it was more of the offense and not the defense. Last year they both struggled at times. I mean, still the defense ended up number 1 overall.
I thought the defense showed out a little bit more than the offense, especially early on. Except
in the playoffs game.
Final game. Yeah, final the one that counted. Game. But we are also down a man, an important man. Let's be real. But
I would like to see them both. The offense was in top 5 last year, and the defense was number 1 overall. I want to see both top 3 this year.
Yeah,
that's what I'm expecting.
I think it will. To Mikey's point, I think we will finally have a well-rounded team. I think on both sides of the ball. I think the defense now has found their identity, and they improved by adding Von Miller. We still got our same defensive coordinator with Leslie Frazier. You're bringing back a bigger, better defensive line. You got Gregory Rousseau going into his second season, which he's going to be better. By the way, he bulked up. He's looking crazy in shape. And then you got Boogie Basham, who's going to probably be better. So
who's slimmed down.
Who's right. So our defense has improved, if anything. And then I feel like our offense has improved. So our offensive line, just go through that, right? Yeah. So you got a whole revamped, pretty much offensive line. You got a new offensive coordinator who's going to be calling the calls. You got a new offensive line coach who's way better than the one we had last year. So I think this is going to be the most dangerous football team this season, in my opinion. I'm not just saying that because I'm a Buffalo Bills fan. I'm saying that because it's the truth, and that's why we're by many people predicted to go to the Super Bowl, because we are very dangerous on both sides of the ball.
Yeah,
we got weapons everywhere. Go ahead.
I'm expecting the top 3 from both. Like you said, on defense, we revamped that D line. On offense, we revamped the wide receiver core. We brought in some new elements. We revamped our O-line, and when I say we revamped our O-line, we really didn't, because we have 4 of the 5 returning starters. But we inputted a Pro Bowl left guard.
Right. Well, we got Saffold, and I will say this: yes, Ryan Bates though was not starting at the beginning of the season last year, right? So technically, he wasn't the starter from.
Well, I mean, just how he ended the year,
right? So you got. And then I also got to go back and say Deion Dawkins, he had COVID and he wasn't the same. Like he's 100% now. Then to Mikey's point, you got Saffold, right? Then you got a guy named Tommy Doyle who's looking really good in OTAs so far. You got Mitch Morse, who's one of the better centers in the league, and you got Spencer Brown, who's coming back for year 2. Mikey, who. Man, by the way, guys, we're going to stop talking about this because we're going to get into this next week when we talk about offensive line and defensive line. We're not going to go too, because we're going to be really diving deep into this next week. So I'm going to cut it now so we don't give it all away, but we will be talking about that next week, guys. So join us next week.
So ultimately, to answer the question, I am sold on the receivers.
Yep.
I like the skill sets that we have. I thought we needed a deep threat, and then we went out and signed Tavon Austin, who falls on the bubble. So we have about 6 guys who are on the bubble. We have Kumaro, Tavon Austin, Marquez Stevenson, Isaiah Hodgins, Tanner Gentry, and Neil Powell, who's rookie UDFA.
Yeah.
Hodgins, Gentry, and Powell are all practice squad guys. They've never played in an actual game. So really, I think it's going to come down to, because we're probably only going to keep 6 receivers.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to come down to Kumaro, Austin, and Stevenson, I believe.
Kumaro's making the team. It just seems like they like him.
But if we only keep 6, that means Austin and Stevenson are gone.
You're right. We'll see. I mean, Tavon Austin right now, to me, is a bubble. He is a bubble. I got to see how he does on kick returns because I think that's really what they brought him in for, in my opinion. But we'll see. But he is on the bubble right now. If we were looking at the whole receiver room, Kumero's been here. I think they like him. They do like. They must. They bring him back multiple times, by the way. So there's something in them that they like, and he's a
fantastic special teamer.
Yes,
he's a fantastic special teamer, and he's a great blocker.
Yes, exactly. So I don't see him being cut. Marquez Stevenson, man, I was not sold on him, but I was.
This is the deepest receiver crew we've had yet.
It is.
So there's a chance that Kumaro doesn't make this team.
It is possible. It's very possible. He also could be a trade candidate. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah,
like he could be.
Send him back to Green Bay.
Green Bay, yeah, give him exactly to make Rodgers happy or whatever. Marquez Stevenson, he's not looking good in OTA so far. They're saying that's not good. for him.
Yeah, he's had a lot of drops. From
it's not good.
Matt Perino was saying.
Yeah, that is not good for him. But it's OTAs. I'm not too concerned yet. Hodgins just can't stay healthy. Once again, he's hurt. I don't know what's going on with him. Jan Trentry or whatever, he's Allen's old teammate. He's not making the team. At least I don't think so. He's a practice squad guy. Yeah, man. I think out of all those guys there on the bubble, whatever, Kumaro would probably be the guy, but I could also see him being
I think it comes down to who wins the punt return battle. Is it Stevenson or is it Austin? I think Kumaro could possibly make it as well as a special teams only guy, and we could keep 7. I don't see it. But I think it's going to come down to, who wins the special teams job, and then also what can they give me in on offense. That's why I think they signed Tavon Austin. I think they want him to win the job because he also gives you that outside wide receiver presence.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree with that. Joey coming in saying he was one of the fastest guys in the NFL. He was when he got drafted. Now, I'm sure he slowed down a little bit, but he's still he has wheels on him. I'm not sold on Stevenson more of a I mean, listen, we'll see. I mean, it's too bad because
Stevenson was a lottery ticket anyways. Drafted.
Yeah, he was a 6th round draft pick one. Okay, so it wasn't like we reached or anything. And listen, I got to give him. I still got to say, hey, he was injured most of the season. He came in and right away was doing punt return. So, we'll see this season.
And horrible weather at that.
Right. So we'll see. He has a lot to prove. He does. Yep. And if he doesn't, it is what it is. Maybe he goes to practice squad.
Yeah, he probably gets put back on the practice squad. Let him continue to grow and see what we get in year 3.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
So ultimately, when we're looking here, so we looked at that. Obviously, we know Hodgins, Gentry, and Powell probably don't stand a chance. They'll probably be practice squad guys at some point. Who do you expect to, outside of the top 5, who do you expect to make wide receiver 6? Who are you expecting it to be?
On the bubble there, right?
Yep.
I'm gonna say, because they just like Kumaro, man. I'm gonna say Kumaro. I'm gonna say Kumaro makes the squad, but I think all the other guys have an uphill battle, man. I think Stevenson has an uphill battle just because, man, he's gonna be the kick return. Like that's it. Like he has to do one job, and if he's not doing it, he ain't making the team, or he ain't making the starting team at least. Isaiah Hodgins just can't stay healthy, bro. I just can't see him making
super
the team.
super talented wide receiver, just hasn't been able to stay healthy.
Yeah. Gentry, I just don't see it happening. And man,
not with this depth. Depth.
So I'm gonna say as of now, now this could change, Mikey, because we don't know. We're gonna have to see how camp goes when they get the pads on, when things are getting serious. I'm gonna say for now, I have Kumaro as that 6, man, because I just think
I'm gonna take Austin. I think Tavon Austin's gonna come in. I think he's gonna take the punt return and the kick return job.
Okay,
and they're gonna be able to finally have someone to do that, and will also give him a little something in the receiver game, he'll be more of the outside burner that we don't have today.
Yeah. I mean, I understand that point too as well. I just have to see we'll see when it comes down to training camp. That's going to tell a lot, man.
Yeah. Well, preseason games, and the best part about this is, and this goes back to our quarterback conversation, we now have Matt Barkley as QB3. So we'll see a lot of Case Keenum and Matt Barkley throw into these receivers rather than Jake Fromm and Davis Webb.
Right. Guys that actually can throw the ball. I hated Fromm, by the way. But
I know. Wasted of a draft pick.
Yeah, totally.
So,
and
then in the room with those guys, obviously Ken Dorsey will be in there because he's the OC, and then wide receiver coach Chad Hall, who is actually turned out to be one of the better wide receiver coaches in the league.
Yep.
All right, down to our last position group of tonight. That's the tight ends. We have our three mainstays from last year, or really in general, who I expect probably be the three that make it. Dawson Knox, OJ Howard, Tommy Sweeney. On the bubble, we have Quentin Morris, who was a practice squad last year, and Jalen Weidenmeyer out of Texas A&M, who's a practice squad or rookie UDFA this year. Knox last year had 79 targets for 49 catches, 587 yards, 9 touchdowns, 0 fumbles.
Right.
He also decreased his drops by a lot last year.
Yeah.
He became much more sure-handed. Overall, for career, he has 165 targets, 101 catches, 1,263 yards, 14 touchdowns, and he has 2 fumbles on the career. And he hasn't fumbled since his rookie year, I believe. OJ Howard. This was something that was kind of interesting. So they have very similar stats, Howard and Knox. They've also both, Howard's only played 4 of the 5 years because he didn't play 1 year.
Right.
So when you look at it, kind of evens out. So last year he had 21 targets for 14 catches, 135 yards, 1 touchdown. He sat behind Gronk and Brate for most of last year. On it from a career standpoint, and most of it happened pre-Brady getting there. So most of his time came with Winston. He had 180 targets, 119 catches, 1,737 yards, 15 touchdowns, but he's had 4 fumbles in his career. And he hasn't fumbled since his second year in the league.
That's good. Yeah, that's good.
And then we have Tommy Sweeney, who has a chance to be cut, really. Like I can see us only keeping 2 tight ends, knowing that we're gonna have Gilliam that could play there, and also Tommy Doyle, who is a big man tight end for goal line stuff. So Tommy Sweeney last year had 12 targets, 9 catches, 44 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 fumble. On his career, he's only had 25 targets, 17 catches, 158, 1-1. He just wasn't impressive when he got his chances last year. He struggled.
Yeah, he did. He was slower than I remember. Like I kind of felt like he took a step back, to be honest with you. I thought he had a better rookie season. He looked a little bit more faster. I just felt like he was just like running on blocks. And
I mean, granted, he had the heart condition coming off of COVID from 2020. So last year was his first year back. So, maybe he puts in a great, off season and comes out and looks like his rookie year, Tommy Sweeney. Because I thought we had something special in those 2 guys in his rookie year.
Because he looked okay his rookie year. Yeah, he did. He actually played he played better in preseason than Knox did that, I remember. Yeah.
So maybe we see him. If not, like the chat is saying, I can see him going to the practice squad.
He is a practice squad guy, in my opinion.
Yeah, I can see that. Jalen Weidenmeyer is the one that kind of intrigues me.
Right.
Not super athletic, horrible combine, which made him an undrafted free agent. But he was talked about, round 1, round 2 going into last year as a prospect who just, his combine tanked him. Super productive, but not super athletic. So it'll be interesting to see what he brings this offseason. I can see him being a practice squad guy and maybe wide receiver, tight end 2 down the line if he can grow.
Yeah, I can kind of see that too. He's just heavy-footed. So he doesn't really cut too well. He's not a very good route runner. But I mean, he has shown flashes of
great play.
So I believe they say he's
played in the SEC too. So it's not like he didn't play. Like he played
2 seasons ago. He had a really good season. He didn't have the greatest season last season.
Yeah.
But when he does get open, though, he's sure-handed. Though that's the one thing they do say. Like he is sure-handed, and he's a big target. So he could get red zone work. Like if he maybe made the team in the future, I could see that. Like a bigger guy. Maybe a blocker. Maybe a better Tommy Sweeney if they can improve him. But other than that, I think he's a practice squad guy. I don't think anyone's picking him up. Nothing to worry about.
I can see us running with 2 tight ends only, with us keeping the ability of keeping
That's
an
all
extra
it's
wide
gonna be.
receiver or an extra
Yeah.
running back or whatever
Yeah,
the
the
case may be. I can see that. Daniel Garies comes in and says he thinks it's going to be Knox, Howard, and Weidmeyer. He thinks Weidmeyer is going to make the final roster.
oof, he'd have to show a lot of improvement by the time preseason ends.
Yeah, I mean
I
it's possible. It's
You got to
possible.
remember the roster, and I said this to you guys like a couple weeks ago. There's going to be guys that either get cut or traded that it's going to be like, oh man, I really liked him, but it's just we have a very full roster, guys. You can't keep them all, and it's easier said than done by you can't just throw them to the practice squad because people pick them up. Like you can only protect, I think, 2. So
No.
or 3. Is it 3?
No, the roster protections.
Yeah.
But that's starting on a Tuesday. So
Right.
everyone at the end of each week, everyone's open.
Exactly.
So that's why we got picked off. We got picked off our practice squad like 4 times last year.
Correct. So it makes it tough, to keep some of these guys that you think you could just stash them away. It's not that easy. Like if another team sees them and likes them, just like we got McKenzie from the Broncos, it is what it is. But yeah, there's going to be guys that are getting cut. Surprise cuts. There's always a surprise cut, right? Mm-hmm. We all know that. So, I don't know yet, but we'll see.
Yep. And Joey Hatch comes in and says Tommy Doyle and the other guy are trade baits. And then Scott Blakely asks about Doyle going into guard. We'll talk about these guys at length next week as we dig into the offensive line. But yes, Joey, I do not see Doyle as a trade bait. They like him. They drafted him to groom him.
Oh yeah,
he's super athletic guy. They're working on him at all positions, because you have to remember last year he was basically a second tight end for us, and even caught a touchdown pass in the game against the playoff game against the Patriots. So I see him being a big part of their future. I don't see him going anywhere.
No, he's not. He's definitely not going anywhere. They're listen, with the addition of Cromer, he's going to get these younger guys, and we'll talk about this next week, but he's going to get these younger guys a lot up to speed rather than Bobby Johnson would have. I'll be honest with you. And maybe that's why Cody Ford never developed. Maybe. I'm just throwing that out there because he just didn't have a good, coach, helping him out. But we'll see. I don't know. You know? But we'll get into that next week.
Yeah.
We're going to get into
we'll dig deep into that. And then in the room, obviously, to round this out, in the room, Ken Dorsey as the OC will be in the room, but also tight end coach Rob Boris is in there, who's been a fantastic tight ends coach for us for a few years now. That does a great job, and we'll be excited to see what comes of this room. It's really a 2-man room, and Knox and Howard this year.
That's
super excited to see how we're going to use 12 personnel.
Oh man, dude, I can't wait. They're already talking about like how Ken Dorsey's just like he's just itching, to call plays, man. Like, and did you hear, Mikey? Oh, we done with this, by the way, so we can go back to
okay. That covers the end of our slides.
All right. So I'm not sure if you heard about this, but they asked Ken Dorsey if he was going to be on the field or in the box.
All the guys are saying in the box.
And he said he wasn't sure. But when they asked Gabe Davis was like, nah, bro, he's going in the box.
It was Mitch Morris, too. Mitch Morris said, we want him in the box. The guy gets a little intense.
Right. And I'm all good. Go up there with the other guy, like, Shula, right, who can help you out. And to me, I think it's just better because a younger guy is going to be able to communicate better with these other coaches rather than being on the field where you can't maybe it's too much distractions going on. He's going to want to talk to Josh, and Shula's going to want to talk to. So I think if he's up there, let Brady be the quarterback coach and talk to Allen when needed. I have a feeling that he's going to be up in the box.
Yeah, I hope he's up in the box. That's what I want to see him up in the box, because then I want him and Shula sitting side by side up there, so Shula can help walk him through, see what they're looking at. You can see the game better from up top. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So, and then Joe Brady down on the sidelines, which will work. But at the end of the day, I like the coaching staff we put around. We got a lot of new faces and new ideas in the room, which is going to help this offense grow. It's what we
Oh yeah.
needed. It's what we
Yeah, man.
needed.
We definitely and that's one thing I think, every year that since we started this journey of this, Brandon Bean,
Sean
Sean
McDermott.
McDermott, Miss McBean, trust the process journey. I think it's been a lesson. Like every year is a new lesson learned, or they're learning things as they go in a way too. Because
Mm-hmm.
McDermott's kind of a young coach, and I think like every year we're improving, right? Like we're not taking a step back. We're not doing drastic measures. So okay, so like okay, we lost Dable. We knew they already had a plan with Dorsey. We talked about this. Like that plan was, I believe, already in place. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so I just love how they have things already set up for the future. Looking, they're not just looking for the moment now, and that's why I
Yeah.
think I believe in this team. I believe that years to come, we're still going to be one of those top dog teams because of the way McBean is setting it up, and which I love, man. I absolutely love.
Build for now and the future. That's his motto.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, which is great, right? The drafting has been great. Like honestly, there hasn't been much that I could point out and just be like, oh, that's terrible, terrible, terrible. Like you're not going to hit it every time, and we talked about this, Mikey.
Yep.
But he's hit it more times than not, right?
He's
like
missed.
Right.
He missed on some of his free agent signings. Like he still hasn't gotten the D line right. Things like that. But at the end of the day, he's hit on more than he's missed. And he's hit on the big positions. Quarterback, the biggest one of them all. Wide receiver. He went out and traded for Stephon Diggs to give us that alpha guy. He drafted Gabe Davis, a midday pick. That's turned into something that's good. Dawson Knox, round 3, traded up for a Dawson Knox, who's turned out to be one of the top, 10 tight ends right now.
Got one of the best kickers in the league in a late round draft pick.
Yeah.
Right. You got Spencer Brown in 3rd round, who was a sneaky offensive line, who's going to be a beast in this league. Right. There's been a lot of good things that probably aren't talked about as of yet, because these guys are still coming into their own, right? Dawson, like finally, I think, like for instance, we just talked about the tight ends.
Yeah.
Dawson Knox was a 3rd round pick, who many people were like, Dawson Knox, he didn't. What did he do in college? He barely got any playing time or receptions or whatever. He didn't have any touchdowns in college. Oh, he's dropping passes. Like Bills Mafia was a little rough at first on him, right? Yeah. And then now you understand what Bean saw in the potential that this kid, he just needed an opportunity, needed some couple seasons to grow, to get better.
That raw athletic ability. See, that's what Beans tends to go for, is that raw athletic guy, and say, we got coaches here who can coach him up. Across the board, that's what he does. Rousseau, Allen, Edmonds, Oliver, Knox, Doyle, Brown. They're all raw guys who got coached up.
Yep. Joey coming in saying Thurman Thomas was saying they will use James Cook to throw in passes to the flat, or Josh Allen doesn't have to run it. So I'm guessing. So Josh Allen.
Yeah.
100%. They're trying to limit. And that's another thing. And me and Mikey talk about this too. You got to limit Josh Allen's run. You have to. Like you can't,
especially the called runs.
Yes, 100%. You can't. He will not last in this league, guys, long. I know we all love him. We see him as Superman. We see him as a tough dude, right? He can run over players. In time, his body will not will break. It's just the way it is, right? So, McDermott understands this, right? Dorsey understands this. Dorsey's a former quarterback. He knows it very well. And I think that's exactly why they went out and drafted James Cook. Yep. Right. Exactly why they try to get McKissick. They're trying to, take down these runs.
Let him check it down. Let him check it down 1 yard. Someone's rushing at him. He can just flip it over their head, and then that guy has a chance to get a first down out of it.
Right. I mean, listen, if you're going to run Josh out, fine. I don't mind playoffs. It is what it is. Go all out. That's cool. But during the regular season, man, you got to limit. You got to, man. And I think
Josh's run should be like Scott comes in and says, Josh's run should be the ones that he's dropped back. He sees an opening and he goes. It should not be
his
power
decision.
Sweep with the quarterback or draw up the middle with the quarterback. That crap's got to stop because he's not going to last if we keep doing that.
No, he won't. He won't last, and we're going to be right back here going, what quarterback do we draft? And it's not going to be good, right? So limit his runs. And like Mikey said, man, I think Josh Allen's his best runs are the ones that aren't designed. Josh Allen looking at his reads, nothing's there. He sees an opening. He goes 25 yards, goes out of bounds. Those are the best. The runs up the middle. You're going to kill this guy, man. You're going to hurt his shoulder. You're going to do something stupid. And I think Dorsey, I'm telling you,
he's bigger than everybody, and that's why he does it, because he likes to run people over.
He does. He likes to play football. He's a football player. I get that, but he has to. But I think even Josh, and if you really watch Josh's career, Mikey, I think even Josh is understanding that now.
Yes,
because Josh is getting out of bounds more often. He's sliding more often. Like he's not putting his body at so much harm.
He's getting down before the guys get to him.
Right. He'll still do it once in a while, which I'm cool with, depending on the game, depending on the play. Right. Like if we're, it's seconds are counting down, he's diving, he's gonna go right for it. I'm cool with it. I understand.
Like he did against Tennessee. He went over two guys, diving, trying to get the first down. Okay, stuff happens. Right. The John Elway helicopter in the Super Bowl.
Bro, even the one run that he did on the year we played Houston, where it was a pass to him.
Yeah.
He got hit hard, bro, and he landed on his head. Yeah, bro. I think he thought that was an easy walk-in.
And that safety came over and just took his legs out. Well, I mean, let's be honest, John Brown floated that thing to him. So
he did.
It took a minute to get the ball to it, there.
Boy, you don't want that. You know what I mean? That could have been bad. He could have hurt his neck. I mean, that was a bad hit. He took it well. Right, anything. So I think Dorsey will really, you're going to see that a lot less runs, in my opinion, moving forward. I
hope so.
Yep. So any questions I missed, Mikey, before we get out of here?
Let me take a look. They're talking a lot about the reactionary runs. Everyone wants to see that. Daniel Garrison says preserve that franchise quarterback.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, at the end of the day, I see Cook taking those little swing passes, dump offs. I have a feeling we're going to use them a lot like how Marshall Faulk was used back in the day. You're going to see him lining up in the backfield. You're going to see two backs. You'll see him and Singletary together, or him and McKenzie together, and them having two tight ends, two receivers, two backs, and then them motioning out into a 4 wide receiver set.
Oh, I would.
It's going to be all kinds of weird stuff like that. It's going to be awesome.
Oh, dude. Yeah, it's going to. Can you imagine him and Singletary in the backfield, and then Cook runs out to the outside,
and lines up in the slot?
You have no idea what's going to happen. You have no idea. Or just have
him versus a linebacker is a mismatch.
Yeah, 100.
That's why I'm saying you run two tight ends, so they're going to bring in 3 linebackers, right? Thinking it's 12 personnel. Then you run a split back with Cook and Singletary. Now you're motioning Cook out into the slot, and now you got a 1-on-1 with a linebacker. Not many, that's a mismatch for us all day long.
Sorry if I can't pronounce your name. Pemaruto. I still believe in Moss. Listen,
so do the Bills.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not a hater on Moss at all. I just feel like he needs to get to work. How about that?
I don't feel his skill set fit our run game. What we were trying to do last year. Or the last 2 years, really.
It could work this season, though. It could work under a Cromer, under a different offensive line. It very well could be. You could see a much better Moss. I don't know the work he puts in on the offseason.
I imagine he puts in work.
I'm sure he does. I'm sure they all do. They're football players. But, there's also extra work, right, that some guys do, right? Like Josh Allen's of the world. Like Devin Singletary, for a good example. He put on a lot of muscle last season. He was a different.
He got faster last season.
Yeah, because he shedded pounds. He gained muscle. So what does Zach Moss feel like he needs to do to improve? Right? Maybe that's that. I have no idea. So we'll find out. But I could tell you, under Cromer, under this line, Zach Moss is going to be given an opportunity. If he fails to take that opportunity, then that's on Zach Moss. That's not on anybody else in the running room.
Yep. Since he's going to be given that opportunity. You know, the thing that, you know, Singletary succeeded with the offensive lines we had before because he can make the first guy miss. To where Moss isn't that type of running back.
He's not.
So,
correct.
You know, Singletary's vision was better than Moss's vision, I believe, from what we've saw. But at the end of the day, if you put him in one of those zone schemes or the pin and pull schemes and you actually give him some blocking, I think Moss could be very good. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out come training camp.
Yeah, and Moss has shown, ability. I've seen plays where I'm like, okay, like, you know, passing game as well. Like he gets it. And, you know, the problem is with him, especially with the offensive line last year, with not the best offensive line, him not being able to read as well as Singletary, it cost like that's why his yards per average was like 2.3.
Well, that and he also couldn't, like, half the time guys were in the backfield and Singletary made a miss where Moss couldn't.
Exactly. So he's also less elusive than Singletary. Singletary will always make the first guy miss. Like that's always his problem is getting that burst. Like
he doesn't have that second gear to run away from people.
Right. But if he gives me 5 yards of carry, I'm okay with that.
He was breaking off 20-yard runs.
He was.
Do you know how many guys in the NFL actually break off 70-yard runs? Like 4.
Right. Exactly. So we'll see. But I think I think overall the running game is going to be improved. It doesn't matter who's in there. I'm being real with you guys because of what who we brought in and the change in the offensive line as well.
Bringing in a Pro Bowl guard like Roger Saffold and then just sliding Bates over solidifies the O line. We don't have that weak spot, which is nice.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, that's what I was saying, Scott. The vision, he doesn't have as good as vision as Singletary. Singletary he has way better, in my opinion, is that he does have better vision, and he also has elusiveness.
The tape shows it. The tape shows it.
Yeah. But that doesn't mean he can't improve. Once again, like and maybe the system will, make Moss a little better, like improve his skill set. Maybe the skill set will now be able to get used better, if that makes any sense, Mikey.
Yeah, no, that makes a ton of sense. Penn comes in and says that he was at the match. So Pim, hopefully you didn't leave with a bruise because all those dudes were pinging people in the audience.
Mikey, how many more days till kickoff? Do you know? I think it's like 90 something.
I think it's like 93 or 94.
It's in that range. Because I know it was like 100.
It's in the low 90s.
Okay. So we're getting there. I mean, listen, preseason starts in August. We're in June. So right around the corner.
And stick with us because we have a lot of cool shows coming up. So next week's show, we're going to do the O-line and D-line. We'll do the trenches. And then the following week, we're going to do the rest of the squad. So we'll do the linebackers, the secondary, and the special teams. And then that's going to kick us into the real downtime of the off season. And we have a couple special shows coming your way.
We do.
You guys will see some trailers about that coming out in the coming weeks. Real excited. It's gonna be a Buffalo fan base thing. It's gonna be real fun.
It is, man. It's gonna be a 5-week event. And nobody's done this before, guys. And I think you guys are gonna, true Buffalo Bills fan, which all you guys are, diehard Bills Mafia. You're gonna enjoy what we're bringing to this channel and to Buffalo fan base. You're going to always enjoy what we bring you, but you're going to really enjoy this. And that's going to be coming up.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be real fun. It's something that me and Tommy are real excited about. We came up with the idea. We pitched it to our fan base family. They're all going to jump in on it. They like the idea. So keep an eye out. You'll see a trailer coming out very soon for that.
Yep. Within a week or two. So, hey guys, once again, everybody in the chat, Scott, Jason, Joey,
Dallas,
the new person. I'm sorry if I can't pronounce your name.
Pim is in there. Then we had a couple new people that we saw that came in early.
I miss anybody because I don't want to miss you. I try to get
Adam opened it up.
Adam opened it up.
Charity was in here. Charity came in. So we appreciate you all riding with us. Simple to own. Your boss came in tonight.
Yeah. Look at Scott. Scotty wants to know but we can't
spill the beans yet. We're just waiting on it. It's coming. I promise.
So yeah, so you guys know what time it is, man. It's time to get out of here with the best outro ever on any channel. So here we go. Go Bills. The Bills make me want to shout. Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Peace out, guys.